Okay, so good evening once again to all of you, and we are going ahead with our next talk, the most awaited and most exciting talk. And the next most exciting talk will be from Dr. Geetal Mahajan. Dr. Geetal?
Hi, good evening, ma'am.
Yes, wow, it's so amazing to see you after such a long period of time, and I'm so happy that you have progressed so much, and it's like it feels so happy to see one. But of course, when you are in ICT itself, you had shown your zeal, enthusiasm, and leadership qualities. So I'll move ahead with your introduction. Good evening, students, and we will move ahead with our next presentation on in the series of career opportunities in food science and technology, a Saturday series of virtual webinar conducted to help the students so that their career path is eased, they are more empowered, and through such webinar, our speakers and the experts have kindly and compassionately accepted our invitation to build the capacity of students, whether it is building the soft skill, building the extra knowledge in more avenues and career opportunities in the various allied subjects, or being it improving further on leadership skill, because leadership is the most important quality we talk a lot about, but there are only very few who can lead and become the leader. So leadership is basically capacity of a human being who is able to translate the vision. See, vision, everybody has the vision, but ultimately, like universities has vision, the organization has vision, the communities has vision, as an individual also one has a vision, but translating that vision into reality is a very very tough and challenging, and you need certain traits, certain characteristics, and those characteristics or traits, if you follow, the path for becoming a leader is 100%. So in today's talk we have an expert who is going to share those top tips on becoming a leader. So Dr. Geetal Mahajan Chaudhary is currently working as a scientist at Johnson and Johnson Consumer Health R&D, where she is basically under leadership development program, and she is from Institute of Chemical Technology, who has completed PhD, MTech and BTech from Fibers and Textile Processing Technology. And after completion of this, so basically I have seen Geetal as a very good dashing leader. When she was here in ICT hostel, she was a leader of ladies, and then she was also general secretary. So, and at many activities that are being conducted in Institute of Chemical Technology, she was always at the forefront. So I think the quote that is always said, there are born leaders, and Geetal is carrying those traits and characteristics. So she's very very passionate to help others. That's her very very important trait, and maybe because of that important quality she was chosen as a leader when she was here in ICT, leader of the students. So she was always there to solve the problems of others. She's also very very passionate and caring about the mother earth. Sustainability is her a very interesting topic, and she has been working very hard to develop green processes and technologies, and building the sustainable mindset, changing people's mindset is very important. And through her small contributions and small baby steps, she has been building that sustainable mindset. She has been inspired by her love for nature, since childhood, and she practices vegetarianism, prefers natural light whenever possible, and optimizes her water usage diligently. Very, very important. And she's also very good at sports, cooking, a passionate photographer, and a traveler. And she firmly believes in giving back to the society and working towards betterment of society. And within this context, Dr. Geetal is here with us today to share her insights, her extracts of experience. It is said that instead of taking experience and learning, it is always good to learn from others' experience. But it is at the same time, it is also important that the experienced person should share that experiences with others very honestly, and so that others are able to understand. So with this introduction today, Dr. Geetal will be sharing a step into the world of leadership talk with all of us. So thank you so much, Dr. Geetal, for sharing your valuable time, giving your valuable time to share very important insights and tips on leadership. Over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a lovely introduction. I'm so overwhelmed, and I feel I'm really honored to be here because this is my alma mater. This was my home, and I still call it my second home because I've spent more than a decade's time in this very institution. So it's really a privilege to come back and, give something to the students of today so that they can be better leaders in the future. So just to give you a brief background on what I would be talking about would be nothing very typical or, theoretical lessons on leadership. So if you really just go onto the Google and search for leadership, you'll find multiple avenues, multiple, TED Talks and podcasters, and a lot of material out there which would be mentioning about what are the different types and styles of leadership, how you can, grow about them. Definitely, that is something you can surely go through and learn from a lot. But today I'm here, and when I was actually talking to Dr. Shalini, she just mentioned about, how leadership plays a very active role in everybody's life. So Dr. Shalini herself is one leader. I see it for myself. She has beautiful daughters. She's a good housewife. She's a good professor out there. She's like traveling all around the world. So she is a leader in herself, right? So everybody, each one of us should be able to find what drives our purpose, what is important to us. So I will quickly take you through for in my journey of how I actually started onto this path. And like ma'am already mentioned, it is for us that leaders are not created, but they are born. So why I chose this particular topic, a step into the world of leadership. Can you all just see my screen? Can you give me a heads up if,
Yes.
yeah? Perfect. So to begin with, let me just go through a quick round of applause of my story, how it all began. And I won't take much of your time, but I'm sure if I could reach to your heart and mind with my story, there would be something you can definitely pick it from there. So to begin with, like ma'am mentioned, I've done my BTech, MTech, and PhD from fibers and textile. Now, food students must be wondering why is she like here, career opportunities. So let me just clear this air out right here. ICT is ICT. You be from foods department, you be from textiles, from chemical engineering, oils, dyes, any department. Once you are an ICT, you are an ICTian. And it really does not matter which branch you're taking to, because whatever branch you would be studying in, whatever you would be studying in, you are definitely going to excel in that. And that is what is most important, right? And to begin with, I entered Udacity, not ICT. It was way back in 2008. It was a very long journey, a tough time for me. I had to leave home. I was away from my parents. But it was a greater opportunity for me to grow. to develop myself. And if you say today, ma'am has honored me by saying so many lovely things about me. But when I was traveling through all of these phases, I actually never realized that I was a leader by myself. But the actions I took, when I reflect back, definitely there's something I even learned from myself, that, okay, did these things and these were really important. So why am I focusing on my story? Because being in this very institution for more than a decade has given me a plethora of opportunities, experiences, and there have been so many professors in this very institution from whom I have learned so many good things. What drives me is my passion and my purpose. So, for everybody to decide what they have to do, they have to be really, really, clear, or even if not clear, you should at least know why am I doing it. So if I was into fibers and textiles, definitely I knew why I was there. So there's a quick joke I really want to share out during our times when I was pursuing my undergrads. People used to say, why are you pursuing this? You won't have any future, right? What is the value of fibers and textiles? Like, people never understood what is a BTech or what a technology does, right? Because the stereotype branches, the engineering branches were out there, computer science, electronics, and all of those. But I did it for myself. I did it for my parents, for my family, who was always there to support me. And what leads me here, because even though I was into fibers and textile, it did not only teach me and excel me into that particular field, but it also gave me a wide range of exposure. And I think that's what is important and that's what matters. In MTech, I got a wonderful opportunity to be a TQuip fellow. TQuip means, if you are not aware of, it's the technological, funded by the World Bank, and wherein you get fundings to, enhance your skills. You can help your department excel, do a lot of extra and co-curricular activities within it, and also be excellent in your career as well at the same time. So it really has groomed me and developed me. When I was actually a TechWeb fellow, I really cribbed to my mom a lot. I was frustrated at times. I had to work nights and days. I couldn't sleep for more than 3 hours. And this is not rubbish. Like, I have been through all of these phases. These things happen when you are a student, but that's the beauty of it, because if you are passionate enough to drive through all of this, one day definitely it is going to lead you to somewhere where today I'm sitting and coming back to you and talking about what leadership is all about. So ICT has groomed me from one person who entered as a normal Geetal Mahajan to an altogether developed, professionally groomed human being to Dr. Geetal. So this is what I really want to share with you all. And going ahead, I have chosen a few topics which I can touch upon, and I'm sure by the end of this talk, you can pick up at least 5 of them, which can help you excel in your future. So what is the world of leadership? To begin with, it is the energy from within. You should bloom with grace. And whatever pictures I'm actually showing here, uh, unless and except I've given the references, these are clicked by me. So this is something I relate to myself. I have a hobby in photography. I love nature. And everything that I do in my life, I relate it to nature, because that is something that drives my purpose. That is something why I do things, why I want to do things. So that is something I call it my why. Every time you have to do something, every time you have to excel, you need to ask, what is your why? There are numerous authors, I can tell you, who are so beautifully put this, the concept of leadership, that you can just go and read about their books and novels they've published around. If you go to Simon Sinek, if you go to Jim Collins, Kim Scott, Adam Grant, Stephen Covey, there are multiple authors who would give you such beautiful insights on leadership. But at the end of the day, there would be thousands and tons of matter that is available. But what matters the most to you and how you want to groom yourself, what is useful to you is what is important. So, what is your purpose? Is the first thing you should ask yourself. And even if you don't get an answer for it, maybe try searching for it. I'm not saying you would get it right immediately, but if you are on the path of understanding what is your purpose, it's absolutely fine to be not clear on day one, but that would drive your purpose, that would fuel your passion. And the second most important thing that comes is, what do you believe in? Simon Sinek, in one of his TED Talk, mentioned there are multiple MNCs out there, but only a few who are great and who are on the top, who've always been on the top. And why? Because they've always believed in their purpose of existence, and they did not want the customers to like or believe onto something, but they wanted the customers to believe what they believed in. So that is where the leadership comes from. When you have your self belief, is the same time you would make others believe in you. You would you at that time you would have the power within you to change the world around you. Going ahead, this is something which maybe you can start with. Goals. What are your goals in life? Everybody asks you right from you entered your 9th standard, 10th standard to your 12th BTech, everything. A common question that every student has to go across is, what is your goal in life? What do you want to become at the end of the day? And everybody would be pushing you for these kind of things. So just before, when you read this, what is the boss asking? Valley, what are your goals in the coming years? So the goals are to be set for 1 year for Valley. Now, on the top of the mind, Valley is for a minute narcissist thinking about himself, and he says, I want to replace my soul with coffee and become immortal, which is a perfect and beautiful thought for any coffee lover. Even I would have done the same thing, except not, I don't want to become immortal, but I would have said, I want to just go across and go around these beautiful wonders of nature that are available. Now, the boss says, I mean something about work. Now, Valley says to it, oh, I thought you said my goals. Now, when we are talking about goals, there are always two kinds of goals. One, your personal goals, and second, the goals which you need to deliver. If you're a student, definitely you want to deliver in terms of marks. You want to clear your exams. You want to excel in your other activities. If you're a corporate person, if you're just landing into you're leaving your academics and going into corporate, then you need to really define what is your goal for yourself. Which area do you want to grow in? Where do you want to go? And there would be times when you would not understand a bit of it. I have been there a lot of times. I'm still there sometimes when I really do not understand what I need to do. What happens then? Nothing. Just go out there, have your hobby, have your mind stable, set yourself some time, think about it. And it's totally fine if you come up with something which is very simple for some others person, but for you, it means a lot. So that are the kind of goals you need to set for yourself. So if you ask me, the first goal I set for myself was I want to improve my communication skill. Why? Because communication skill is such an important aspect in anybody's life, that if I am unable to communicate what I want to say, the other person would not understand what I am trying to say, and then I would not have my work done. So that is an important aspect. So today, if I'm talking to you and if I'm able to at least inspire 1% of you out there definitely I have at least succeeded in my attempt to pass on the knowledge, or to pass on what I have learned throughout this whole process. Going further, perspective. This is something I really believe in, and I feel it is the most important aspect, second to communications. Why? Because what perspective I have, the other person might have a different perspective. And actually, when you go about it, if you even Google and see, perspective is one of the most interesting quality any leader would have, because there are multiple perspective for one single thing, and how you take it ahead, how you channelize it is important, and that is what identifies you as a leader. That is what will make you stand out, because if you have the right perspective, then you would have a direction to go ahead with. And if you do not have it, you need not worry about it. You can talk to your peers, you can talk to your fellow colleagues, you can talk to your friends. By talking to them, what would happen? You would get multiple perspectives. You would get to know their angle, their vision to see at that particular thing. And then what happens? That does not mean that you are not a leader. Taking an initiative to go talk to people, understand what is there in their mind, and then coming back thinking about it holistically makes you a leader as well, because you were the one who took initiative, and you were the one who is passionate and who is actually thinking of making something happen. That makes you a leader in itself. Going ahead, this is a picture. Now, some people might think, if you want to think about this picture, what do you see? Flowers, birds, some leaves fallen on the ground. But is there any perspective to it? For me, this is a memory from ICT itself, for sure. When I was doing my PhD, there were times when my reactions failed. I achieved literally nothing. I failed a number of times. But then ICT is such a beautiful place. You have so many flowers around there, trees around there. I would just go sit there, reflect on the things I have done. And that is how I could find a solution to my problem. Why did my reaction go wrong? But that is my perspective. That is how I saw this whole picture as, because this flower actually changed my mood. I became happy. That increased my mental ability to think about what might have gone wrong, or what efforts I need to take more, or did I do something wrong. That is how I actually related this whole, capturing this picture and summarizing it. But for somebody else, for you, it might be something else that you would be thinking. But what is important is you're thinking something, and that is your ignition point. For any car, for any jet, you need fuels. For you really need to go out there and find out what is your fuel, what would ignite you, what would make you think. This particular piece, emotional intelligence and development. I'm not really sure how many of us really work on this particular piece. Take a moment for yourself. Think about, have you ever given yourself some time to think about how emotionally good you are? Or do you really need to do any emotional development? Now, what do I mean by saying this? And why do I have a picture of a food? Definitely, I'm talking to people around here who are from foods department, and cooking is something I love. So I thought this would help you get some perspective. Now, as Dr. Shalini also mentioned, I am also passionate about sustainability. So this picture is something I can relate to, but emotionally. I had a piece of chapati left overnight. I didn't want to throw it away. And I am not a very big pizza fan, but I definitely love cheese and I wanted to make use of it. So what I did, I made my breakfast out of it. What happened? I am happy. I did not waste my food. I am happy. I utilized my leftover food. Plus, I am happy because my tongue is happy. I got to, eat a delicious dish, and all my purposes are solved. Now, how can I connect it to emotional intelligence? Emotions are something that actually controls humans, how they work. And if you don't really believe it, you just pause for a second and think around. If there was some time where you got really angry, and at the same time you had to perform some important duty of yours, were you efficient enough to do it? Or only because you were angry, you weren't able to do 100% on it? If you get an answer to this, think about it. What was the answer? If you are 100% giving, irrespective of the anger you had, then definitely you have grown emotionally. But if there was a lack in your performance only because you were angry onto something, but that reflected in your work later, then you definitely need to have an emotional development quotient in your life. And why is it important? Because emotional development is directly related to your mental ability, is directly related to your brain. And once you start having control over your emotions, I would not say control, but once you know that in this particular situation, you can develop your emotional needs. If I'm angry today, but I know I have to take lectures for my students, I don't want my students to suffer because I'm angry today. So, this path, a thin line between not reflecting what emotional suffering I am having onto the other who's not actually expecting it, is what we call it as an emotional development. Understanding your feelings, understanding your emotions, and making use of them to 100%. So instead of me saying that, okay, my anger is going to hamper my performance, let me just use it to do a better job while delivering a talk or while delivering whatever I'm expected to deliver. That will help me, attain. And that is one of the best qualities any leader would have, because leaders have to be in a position wherein they are critical on time, they need to follow timelines, yet because uh, everybody has a family, everybody has a social life apart from whatever uh, corporate life or a student life they have. And to have a perfect balance between them is a thin line that you can have by developing your emotional development. Now, this bowl, what can you see? Again, this is a picture I have clicked because whatever dishes I cook, I make sure that my parents staying away from me don't miss out on my daily activities. So I make sure I get a picture of what things I'm eating so that they know I'm eating healthy. They know that I'm eating good food, and they feel that they are a part of my everyday. So that is a way I connect with my parents, staying away from them. But that is something that is very emotional to me. But what do you think about this? For a third person looking at this, somebody would say, okay, this left side one is very colorful. The other one is like, okay, and why are we looking at this? You know, just looking at this dish, there would be some food lovers who would have been tempted to eat something of this sort, maybe a fruit salad or a faluda or something of that sort. That is the perfect point where I have hit your emotional quotient, because emotions have come out. The other day when I was talking to, 7th, 8th standard students, I was actually showing them a picture of ice cream, and the responses I received from them for this particular, picture, I called it as an emotional activity, was overwhelming. The students, this new generation, is much ahead of us. They are brilliant, and the way they think is really admirable. And how, if they channelize their energies in the right direction, I'm sure each one of you can be a great leader by yourself. You just need to channelize your energies in the right focus. You need to find your purpose, and you need to be, what is most important is consistent in your efforts. Going ahead, resiliency. Now, what does resiliency means? If it would have been any textile person, I would have just told them, okay, resilience means you just go pick up a pillow and you would understand what a resilience means, right? For everybody else, it would have been difficult to tell. But resiliency basically is a part of emotional intelligence. It is not something that is different. And why am I saying this? Because once you have grown over your emotions, and once you have developed this ability to have your emotions going into the right direction, that is the perfect moment when I can say you have resiliency in you, because that moment makes you realize that you need to adapt to what is going on, and you don't really have time to think about it. You just need to act on it. So this picture you see are of the microgreens I had grown. And since each one of us is going through this lockdown phase, and some of us are working in these difficult times, going out there, still there were certain challenges each one of us has faced. And I try to grow my vegetables because I am a vegetarian by itself. It was difficult time to get vegetables, so I said, why not, let me just take this opportunity and grow some veggies at home. Having the space constraint, I thought microgreens were a better choice. So the first harvest I had from microgreens, I was so happy. It was an amazing feeling where you actually, saw these seeds growing into these small microgreens, and then you can make a dish out of it and you can eat it fresh. So that is something I did it because that is one of my hobbies. Why I'm saying it under resiliency? Because I know the situation is tough. I'm not going to get veggies for a longer period of time because I'm restricted to this very situation. But then, will I be cribbing about it that I'm not going to get? Or will I be finding an opportunity in it and making something gold out of it? So I thought, let's make greens out of it, if not gold. So I just grew this microgreens. I hope you understood, the concept behind why I actually tried to show this picture. And if you can read, I know it's a really small font, but it's written, it's about having each tiny wish come true, or having something to eat when you're hungry, or having someone's love when you need love. Now, because I relate everything to nature, I feel these microgreens are a way I grew them with a lot of love. And when I actually needed something to eat, I could eat them, right? So it was a give and take from both sides. If you have any questions on any of these slides, feel free to put it in the chat box or in the Q&A, and I would take it after I complete the slides. Now, this whole smart art, it says a lot of purpose of your work, which I've already talked about: emotions, agility, trusting relationship. Now, why am I saying trusting relationship? If I'm a leader, I should know that people on my team or people working with me trust me enough to follow my orders. And I trust them enough that if they have any suggestions to give me, I am readily going to accept it. For sure, we would discuss on it and then we would see if it is suitable or not. That is why trusting relationship matters a lot. Be it a professor student relationship, a researcher guide relationship, or in a corporate, a boss and a manager, or a boss and a employees relationship. Trusting is everything. And the simplest example is relationship within your family. If you don't trust each other enough, would you be comfortable enough sharing your things out there? Definitely not. So trust is a very important factor. And I always say, I remember in ICT when I was selected as the ladies representative, there was a question that was being asked, what is it that matters you the most? And my answer has been consistent and is consistent even today, that there should be a balance between your professional and personal life, because both are really intertwined. If I'm not happy at home, I would not be able to perform my best at my profession, because mentally I am somewhere, emotionally I am somewhere. And that is where trust plays a very important role as well. So I think building a thin line between your profession and personal life is also important. Let your profession not affect your personal life, and let your personal life not affect your profession. That is exactly also in relation to the emotional development that we spoke about. We already spoke about what communication is all about: listening. All of you are listening to me. I'm sure some of you might be bored and not interested at all, which is absolutely fine. But you're still, your Zoom is still working, irrespective if you're looking at the screen or not, if you're paying attention to me talking or not, but you still have your headphones on. That means a part of your brain is engaged with this talk. And that is enough for you to later on think about things that have been spoken about today. And a leader, we say a leader should be a good listener, because if I am not able to listen to my uh, set of people, to the people who work with me, probably they will assume that it is useless talking to me, and there would be difficult times me managing that whole group. It becomes, in terms of a student's life, if you are a master's student, if you are a bachelor student or a PhD student, when you have to go talk to your professor, it becomes really important if your professor is listening to you or not. Some professors might listen to you until you finish your talk. Some professors just might not listen to you. Some professors might somewhere be halfway, but that is not something you should be blaming them for. Even in this situation, I feel there is a way we should find, the optimism within ourselves. If the other person is not listening to me, maybe he or she is not interested, or he or she is giving me a clear signal of what they want to communicate. A leader is always someone who identifies what the other person wants to say. And if you are unclear of what the other person wants to say while listening to them, make sure you stand up and ask them the right questions, because asking questions is also important. If you're unclear about anything, make sure you clear the vent out, because if it is not cleared right in time, it would definitely hamper the performances later. Why healthy mind and body? All these other activities that I keep myself engaged in has actually helped me survive all the lockdown days, because work pressure was tremendous. We have to work, everybody has to work. But making sure that your mind and body is healthy is also important, because until and unless both of them work into coordination, you would not be able to give your 100%. There are people around me who absolutely, like, if you consider me, I absolutely love to eat a lot, eat unhealthy stuff as well at times. But I make sure that I invest enough time into exercising, doing yoga, so that I do not miss on the balance. It's okay to sometimes have your cheat days. It's okay to sometimes miss your exercises, or sometimes overdo some exercises. But we need to make sure that we are healthy in mind and body. And the most important thing with which I really want to, leave you all with is ownership. Whatever I do today, whatever I am doing, and whatever I'm going to do is my ownership. Whatever things I've done in my life has been guided by a number of people. There were tremendous support from my family, friends, my professors, everybody out there who has been in my journey where I've reached today. But I have taken ownership of it only because I have allowed them to give me advices. I was open to listening to them. I was able to, take only what was suitable to me, has helped me a lot. That has not made a single day where I would regret and say, oh, I really did not want to do this. And I think that is something one should take ownership. If I'm working in my lab, if some things go wrong, and if I'm really responsible for it, stand up and say, okay, I take ownership of it. It happened because of me. But the fact that accepting it is also important makes you a good leader in itself. And to close with, I always say, fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. I have always said, if you have a reason, if you have a purpose that you want to follow, you should definitely follow. But if you say from a leader's point of view, it's not about doing it alone, but at least helping, inspiring other peoples to do it along with you. That is it all from my side. I'm open to take any questions, any doubts anybody has.
Wow, that's such an amazing talk you have delivered, Dr. Geetal, and most importantly, I liked all the photography, your slides, and there is no scare of plagiarism or copying and copyright. So when you have your own pictures and where to use them, how to use them is amazing. So thank you so much for inspiring. At least I am inspired to take photographs. I know that I follow you and I see posting you very beautiful pictures. So
Thank you
thank
so
you
much,
so
ma'am.
much. We have some questions from our student. How to develop leadership skill, especially when one is facing this pandemic, no colleges, no actual platform. We are getting to train ourselves and show our leadership quality. So, what would be your advice to our students?
The first and foremost advice I would like to give is, in our own lives, we have simple people around us who are leaders. We should think about them and reflect about it. As in, this particular person is working on this thing. What is his approach? Because by thinking and, engaging ourselves into that thought will lead us to a purpose. And definitely, we have Google, we have LinkedIn, we have so many platforms, and Dr. Shalini, you yourself have given this huge platform to each and every student, wherein so many, industry experts and everybody, professors are coming and talking to them. So definitely, e-learning is something that they can always do, and that is something which nobody can stop them from. But also defining and thinking from their own perspective, what is around them, knowing what is around them and understanding it is also important. Maybe that will definitely help.
Wow, that's so amazing. Yes, students are making, and but sometimes it also happen that this question is from another student. So whenever we try to attempt something or to do something, and you also from your own experiences share that when you are pursuing some of the degrees, so some people said what you are doing here, fibers. So likewise in our every phase of our life we meet with the people who underestimate us, who talk more negative so that our moral goes down. So can you, based on your own experience and you are such a dashing personality, you can share some good tips so that especially in this pandemic the moral of the student goes high and they are more positive and ready to face such challenges that they come across.
To this, I definitely agree. There are negative energies coming in and positive energies coming in. For sure, there are times when, like 90%, there are negative energies and just 10% of positive energies. But what I do, I'll tell you that maybe that would be something you guys can correlate to and find your own, what we call a North Star. So whatever negative energies that come, negative thought comes to you, for example, if you failed in some experiment, or if there are people around you who are talking negative as to what you're doing and all of those, try to make sense out of it, not to get discouraged, but try to understand why they have made that statement, and maybe find your own answer. If they are able to say this, what is the different perspective to that? Like I mentioned, there are multiple perspectives, and that is also important. If you don't get a negative perspective in your life, probably you would not be able to do better in your life. I follow these three things. See as in not literally see, but see for yourself what meaning it makes to you. Adapt if required, or accept it. Now there are two three different terms to it: adapt and accept. I am not saying that you should just go with the flow. There are people for whom just going with the flow works. Please do that, because that is also not a bad thing to do. Acceptance for something is also important, because once you accept it, probably that gives you a better energy to think about how you want to go about it in future, and you want to make your own stand on it.
Wow, amazing. While talking itself, I can see how much happiness, positivity you're passing on to me as well as the entire audiences. So another quick tip our student would like to, know, especially in this COVID pandemic, how one can be very positive and get rid of same question it is like previous, but then get rid of such stress. Do you recommend any therapy or to for do some rituals that can help us to heal and be positive, be it a newspaper, be it a TV, be it a WhatsApp, be it anything? You'll see the information that is coming to us is very unfortunate, sad news we come across, and it's like a very difficult situation. So if you can pass on some tips so that we all can be positive and overcome those negativity quickly.
Definitely, there are days when, each day you get a phone call and you understand that some of your relatives are not keeping well, somebody else is admitted as well. And these things would happen because of the situation we all are in. And it is not easy for any one of us. It might look like, so if people look at me, they say that I'm happy, I have everything in life, but everybody have their own set of challenges with them. To overcome them, what I do is I involve myself in the activities that keep me engaged. Say for example, cooking is something I really love. So Dr. Shalini, I really think sometimes it would have been good if I would have been into foods as well, so that I could have actually done some kind of research, but it's never too late, I'm sure, for that. So I experiment with cooking. Then I have small plants that I grow. So sometimes I spend some time with them. So because I cannot go out and do some photography, I make sure that my plants feel happy. I click their pictures. I do some painting. So for me, my hobbies are something that calms me down and brings in positive vibes. And while doing so, it is not necessary that I am talking to somebody. I am in my own world, and that takes away all the negativity, and it brings a creativity and a positiveness altogether. So a few days back, I was so tense with some work, and I was so worried about something that I could not focus on something. So I just took out my canvas, I took my colors, and I started painting. For sure, it is not a world class painting something, but I at least channelized my energy into a right thing to do. And there are times when you would really not understand and you would be bored of doing all of these things. So I would say just sit back, relax, because your mind and body needs relaxation time itself. If you are a sports enthusiast, like I really love sports, I really love all of these activities, so I can manage my energies with all of this, but not everybody likes them. So just try to find out what kind of activity you like. Ma'am, to be honest, being in hostel from 2008, I do not have TV even today in my home. I really do not see that challenge because I have my PC, but I make sure that I am not in front of the PC all the time because there are so many other things to do. So I would say just try to be away from electronic devices at least for an hour in a week so that that keeps you channelized. Try to find your own peace.
Wow, that's so amazing and very nice. There is one more question from our student. Generally, it is, advised to have a very good emotional quotient. Of course, you have through your talk, you have given and talked a lot about emotional quotient. But are there any quick tips? Our student would like to know all quick, but in life, there is nothing that is very quick. One has to be very patient and perform. But would you like to share some of the good advices to build emotional quotient or to bring more score on our credit or in our career so that, I think be it an organization or be it an institution or be it our personal life, having emotional quotient very strong or that score is very important, so please guide us.
So, for this particular piece, like I mentioned, there are multiple authors that have written really beautiful books, and I myself do refer to them. There are amazing TED Talks given by them as well. And this is the one I recently attended. It was by Simon Sinek. He mentioned about, the circles of life and what those circles of life really mean. They really mean that you should be asking yourself these questions: why, how, and what. So asking these questions can definitely give you answers to it. And talking about emotional intelligence and development, there's a lot of material out there. You can just Google and you'll get to see how you can. But in a layman's term, having control of your emotions is first understanding your emotions. If I am into one particular situation, and if I know that this is going to be my emotion to this particular activity, that is the first step that you should start. Because I've observed so many people around who are not aware as to how they would react, what are the emotions that would come out for a particular situation. So having that awareness and identifying is the first step towards it. That is the quickest, I would say, because self analysis is something which for which you do not need anything. You can just, even before I we close this call, you can just sit back, relax, think for 30 seconds. That is also enough. And identify what are your weak emotional points. Ma'am, I have literally during my presentations and times I've cried. Like, there were situations I was so nervous that I used to cry. But then I knew that this is the time of my presentation and I cannot go face the, professors and audiences with this grumpy face. And then I had to, quickly energize myself, think about good things in life. And I can, so giving that self motivation, identifying how to channelize your emotions. So everywhere, just one quick tip I can give everybody is learn to know yourself first. If you know that, you can lead the whole world, I would say, because you know how you can handle. How the other person reacts is not in your hand, but you definitely know that how the other person is reacting, how you want to, give back to them. So understand that if you are a giver or a taker, how you want to manage your things.
Amazing. Our happiness is in our hand. Nobody in this world can make us happy or make us sad. So that's the extract. We have one last question, and it is about career. So
Yeah.
looking at your own career graph, you have done technical degrees like BTech, MTech, PhD, and now you are into leadership, which is like more inclined, coming from that management background like MBA. And so, what would be your guidance to the student whether to go for a technical degrees or just after B Tech one should go for management because it has more, I don't know, more scope or opportunity from your perspective or from your own experience?
Ma'am, to be honest, like you said, now I was into technical and this is going towards management. So no, I am still a core R&D person. And for sure, management is something you will always need in your life. So choosing between technical and going for a management. So like we say, if I want to do a MTech, PhD, or I want to go for an MBA, that is a very personal choice. I saw in myself that I was inclined towards research, so I pursued my PhD. And even today, I have that curiosity of, searching for new things and finding it out. And I'm very much a technical person still, but it is fortunate that I'm getting this opportunity to be, groom my other activities skill by performing all of this. So, to choose a career going into, you should clearly know your choices, not because your parents are saying, not because somebody else has told you. You really need to identify if I'll be able to do well in research or not. If you don't think you're capable enough in doing research, it's absolutely fine. Maybe you're suited for some other profession, you can go into management. In management as well, you have such vast opportunities. You can be a finance guy, you can be a HR guy. There are so many opportunities. So the key point here, literally until I was in the third, fourth year of my BTech, I never knew I would do a PhD. But it happened eventually. As I finished my final year project, I was damn sure I want to go into research because that is what I enjoyed the most doing. And there were people around me. There are so many of my, bachelor's colleagues who've done masters. After that, they've done management as well. So that is something they really wanted to pursue in their life. So it's okay if you're not clear in your first year of BTech or second year of BTech, but by the time you're into your third year or final year, maybe you should start giving this a thought, where I want to land up in, either a technical or a management. And there are also a combination of both, actually. So there are places where both of these expertise are needed as well. So you can choose both.
Yeah, I think leadership is unavoidable. Even if you do PhD or BTech, MTech, see, being a technical expertise is different. But even if I'm today a faculty or a professor or a scientist or a researcher or a R&D head, you will have to have those leadership qualities or management qualities within you. So having an additional like you are getting fortunately a very good opportunity to undergo that leadership development program wherein it will be like add-on values, so it will be nice and you will be very good at it. Being a technical knowledge as well as having that management skill would definitely help. So yes, we are coming to an end because already we have crossed a lot of time. And thank you so much, Dr. Geetal, for such a wonderful evening. I myself have now decided that yes, I am going to follow some of your tips which are going to give me happiness and as well as definitely will increase my EQ more. So learning is a continuous step, so there is no end to that learning. So thank you so much. I, on behalf of my department and students' behalf and on my very own behalf, would like to thank you for sharing your insightful thoughts, experiences, your own thoughts, and motivating my dynamic young student who have spent their evening today listening to us. So thank you, student, for asking such a beautiful question. Being a listener and asking question is a very good quality. You are already a good leader. Coming
Yes,
here
absolutely.
and listening to the talk and is getting inspired itself is a first baby step.
That too on a Saturday, I must say. I really appreciate each one of you on the call who have taken your time out on a Saturday and, coming here to learn new things.
So appreciate your effort, pat on your back, and let's walk together on this journey of leadership or technical knowledge or career empowerment or career building. So thank you so much, Dr. Geetal, and I
Thank
look
you so much,
forward
ma'am.
your association in future for our student for getting your mentorship or guidance or advice, be it in a professional life or in personal life. I think in this pandemic, especially, we need each other's supporting hand, motivating
Definitely.
hand, which will definitely help. So, thank you so much, everyone, and see you on next Saturday. Stay safe, take care, stay healthy, be positive, not with the corona, but be positive thoughts. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Take care, everyone. Bye bye. Thank you.